15-game run back. That's a longer run back than Flag 4.A. That's crazy. Speaking of Flag 4.A, I don't know if we've got the map bans quite yet, but for those of you that are new to our tournament, we do have a map ban system in play. We currently have a map pool of 7. It's a good distribution of all 3 game types. With I think one of the game types, I forget exactly which one, might be point capture, does have, I believe, 3 maps in representation. But basically what's going on right now is that each team gets a ban, and then the highest seed ends up going for the pick, and then the other team gets to decide which side they want to start off on, offense or on defense, or if we go to domination, it doesn't even matter at that point. Of our 2 domination maps, though, I believe we do have thermal plants and mountain R&D right now. Just waiting on word from our production, and it looks like the first ban is gonna be underground command center going down. So the map that we just saw is gonna get banned out, and our second ban is gonna be thermal plant. So this is the 2 maps that we just saw are getting banned out.
That's good. I want to see more and more maps throughout the day. Now, my question, I'm really curious if we're going to see anybody eventually pick Harbor City throughout the weekend. I think it's maybe a little bit low chance, but it's there, and certain teams can be really, really good at it. You know, maybe the opposite of the teams that are really good at this close-up range. But again, just looking at the teams that we have, you know, we know that BOZOS is really, really good at the domination type game types because of just how their team comp works. The fact they've got an extremely strong Exia on their team, and that is just one of the best flankers in the entire game, probably the best flanker in the entire game. So I'm curious as to which game types we are going to see throughout this set, and it does like we are going to go back to Flag Fort, not domination.
Okay, Flag Fort for our first map of the day. We did get to see a little bit earlier on, and then we got to see inklings of how teams want to play it. And it seems like regardless of skill level, or, you know, I hate to say that, there is a disparity in skill level, but regardless of skill level, teams are playing this one a little bit more conservative, playing inside of point A, not taking any risks that are out on the outer bridges of Flag Fort, because we know how strong from our regular games a sniper can be in controlling that outside objective.
Yeah, I mean, there are just so many opportunities to get picked off in that first area, right? The offense, they can go through the tunnel to the right, they can go under the bridge, they can go over the bridge. There are just so many different angles. No one sight line, I think, covers every single one unless you're standing like all the way basically back at the point. And then at that point, you're still basically just vulnerable to any of those sight lines. So again, please, ranked solo queue teammates, stop holding by their spawn at this one. And yeah, I love the fact that we are seeing a lot of these teams play a lot more reserved and holding back in the points, but I'm not sure who's going to start on offense and who's going to start on defense. And again, I think this is a different roster than we've ever seen on the side of, oh my gosh, why am I forgetting how to pronounce their name? Well, how do you pronounce the name? I'm blanking.
Inarizaki.
Inarizaki. I was going to call it Inarizami.
I was going to take a risk and be like, BOZOS?
Yeah. I've been called that enough in my life to know how to pronounce that one, unfortunately. But Inarizaki, I was going to say the wrong name, but it's got to be a reference to something that's going over my head. But yeah, they have a different team comp than usual, right? Like I mentioned this earlier, you know, X-Ray is one of the more well-known players on that team who is very well known for Dom, being, you know, one of the first Dom players out there, but I think not playing Dom today, going more into the tank role, and that's something that we're going to see, I mentioned earlier, a lot more as time goes on for all these teams, right? And again, even if I just want to give a shout out to any of these teams that, you know, maybe aren't in the tournament or are still in the losers bracket, even if you don't make it super far, just remember, like, this is the first step, and this is a super new game, and things can change wildly, so the experience is worth more than a good placement at this point. And I just love to see everybody compete. So please stick with it. You know, maybe your team's not for you, but you can find another team. Maybe your team's comp's not working out, but you can find something else. So I'm glad that we're going to see all these players hopefully play more in the future. I'm sure we're going to see both these teams more in the future. I don't know, again, though, Inarizaki, what their team comp is going to be. We didn't get a chance to see them on stream. I was watching through some like streamed games earlier, but I wasn't able to really lock down what they were going to pick. Especially, I think I saw them playing a totally different game type. So I think, though, would you say that you're confident that we're going to see pretty much the same thing from BOZOS? They seem pretty safe to me.
Yeah, I think right now we are getting to more of the competitive matches. I think this is definitely either side actually should be faring well against each other. I don't think this is going to be one of the first 2-0, or it still go 2-0, but it'll be a competitive 2-0 if it is at that point. at this point. So I think we aren't going to see the 5-minute timers after taking point B or something like that, right? I think this is going to be a lot more drawn out. Our first 2 matches of the day were pretty fast. It was a quarterfinals and our winner semifinals match here, but I think this is definitely one that you and I both kind of isolated earlier, that this is a matchup, if it comes down to it, it could be a grand finals match. And again, because this is a double elimination, if we see this once, we can see this a second time. So I'm really excited that we are doing a double elimination. But it does seem like we are into map number 1. So let's go ahead and swap back on in. And now we do have the offensive setup coming out now. We don't have the overlay swapped with white yet. We still have Gundam Unicorn Judo practitioners up there. We'll figure out where each team is coming from.
It looks like Inarizaki is on, or we're currently looking at them. They're the blue team, which I would assume is offense. Yes, it's offense. So they are going to be starting off on offense first. I guess they were probably the higher seed just based on the fact that they were placing in the previous GNL tournament. And just as far as their comps, we are once again going to see our Barbados. Barbados a lot more popular, especially on attack, than I expected.
Yeah, I mean, you do have the options, of course, like as these brawlers of like getting around a lot of the heights to challenge for that. On the defensive side, though, we do have that full push back all the way over to point A. You can see the scout coming out. Nice, just to get a quick see onto the entire team. Don't know if he actually picked up anything. It doesn't seem like he did because everyone is playing from underneath the bridge. So it's going to be a full 6-man push to come out from the right-hand side.
Oh yeah, there's not a lot of line of sight when you're pushing down that direction. You have to kind of take a risk and look over the left side. It looks like nobody on their team did. Of course, they're playing very, very reserved, very safe. We are going to see here the Sazabi kind of pushing in from the side. It's very hard to take down a Sazabi from this angle. It gets some really great ranges for its shotgun. And oh, this Exia going to be so strong on defense, of course. And look at this. This is a brawl within this building. It is hard to track what everything's going on. We've got the Exia versus Exia, one Exia going down.
But you can see the Dom follow-up. Again, that's the nice thing about the Dom. If your teammates ends up hitting anything at all for a lot of these units, the 800 HP units, you can just go ahead and finish them off with that right click. You can see the challenge coming out, though. The Pale Rider still on the high ground, now pushing forward, the nade down. Doesn't do critical damage, though, as now you're going to be able to force that offense back. And again, we saw this the last time we were on Flag Fort. That high ground hold from the Pale Rider is so extremely important.
Yeah, it can get shots on pretty much any entry point, and it can back up and try to, you know, just use even its own heals at a point if it seems like it's going to get picked off. That particular angle in general, one's very much underutilized in teams that aren't really coordinated. But oh, that Exia going down, it almost escaped, almost got out of the building. But right now, we are just seeing such strong aim from this Exia. I mean, you mentioned this earlier, no fall off on the Exia daggers. This just does so much damage from anywhere.
Now, Duke will ultimately fall, though, and so now the point's still getting contested. We do have a few on here. They do have a quicker respawn, or at least a faster run back at the very least. So they could try and take advantage of that and try and maintain the presence here. But they are finally forced back. It's going to be a regroup coming out from the offense now, though. Barbados has taken that high ground away, and Exia Duke is going to have a long run back here. Going to try and get back with this squad, but they are starting to fighting for that point. He will be able to get in. Needs to refresh on those dashes, though, before he goes in for the fight.
Yeah, just going to be holding this very far back area. This is a great place to put that turret. It's not a very easy spot to shot. It might get some actual like shots of people that can't hit it. Wow, getting hit by the other Exia, just flying up into the air. This is a duel between Exias. Unfortunately, we're not going to see how that one's going to end, but this Pale Rider, once again, I mean, you just get, oh, the Hades is being activated. This could be an entire team melt if the aim is correct. There's almost not even enough people here to team melt.
Yeah, they've already forced them back at the very least, and so now that's going to be point A taken, charging forward to try and get the spawns, and they do actually. You can see the staggers there, and I'm surprised they're not actually turning around onto them first to finish them off. They're just actually just charging forward to get onto point B, when they could have just maybe taken that fight. But there they go, finally turning around to try and deal with them. They don't want the flankers to cause disruption.
I actually kind of like this, right? They can push forward, turn around, try to get the picks, and then be closer to the point. So as soon as they get these first 2 picks, they can just turn around and just immediately push on point 6v4. But, okay, we're going to see the Trans Am go out. 2 people going down now to this Trans Am. We're probably going to see one more here. Great aim again. The Exia in the Exia mirror. I think so much of this game has gone down to the Exia mirror. Wow, avoiding the Barbados hit as well. This is so well played.
Yeah, Screaming Nimbus was used there. Try and regroup as the defense, and so now they'll be forced back once more. We'll see the Pale Rider has that run back, and same way that he played on point A, he can play on point B. Just has to be a little bit more cautious there of the dive, but you can see it coming, you know? Barbados tries to jump over that wall. Exia tries to jump over that wall. As long as you're playing basically on the far side, you should be able to handle that well. Barbados goes in, but misses his one shot and gets taken out mid-sky. It's going to be a 1-for-1 exchange, though, as the Exia falls on that BOZOS side. And now they're going to push forward here.
Yeah, they're very much taking advantage of every single time that they get a pick on defense. They're actually pushing even further forward, further and further forward, and I kind of like that, right? They're if you hold too far, well, not far back enough, or not forward enough. If you hold in the middle, you actually can get flanked a lot easier, right? By that kind of route on the side. But if you hold further forward or further back, you control the flank as well. So I really like them trying to push forward in that particular spot.
Well, try to go for the res here. Barbados has been cleared once more. 3 minutes and 30 seconds now, and there's going to be 2 defensive ultimates up. You've got that energy cable along with the funnels here as they try to go onto the point, try to get the back cap, but you've got to be careful. The 1-for-1 exchange, but Sazabi for Exia, you'll take it any day, especially when you have the closer spawns. Hades up once more for this Pale Rider, getting across now, challenging for heights, but the Mephis turret actually forces him back, and he actually gets taken out.
Oh, that's pretty huge. I mean, especially without using that Hades. And I mean, there's still plenty of time on the clock, right? 3 minutes left. The big question is, when do you want to use these G maneuvers? That's usually what it comes down to on this point. This can be such a hectic fight with a lot of staggering, but one big set of coordinated G maneuvers can take this over, and then it becomes a choke point for the defense. However, right now, it doesn't seem like there's that much that they can do. It looks like they're just trying to get a little bit of extra damage. Oh, the Barbados hit and actually gets the down. That was super awkward, but that's going to stagger them and force them to wait that much longer to attack again.
Wow, they're going to be able to get point B with time on the board as well. We'll see exactly how much they have. But that was a nice push. Again, you got to see why the high ground angle is so incredibly strong to hold there on point B. Once it gets taken away, there's very little you can do once you establish dominance there. Having that extra high ground, having that, I mean, basically putting teams into a fishbowl. It's so easy to shoot down on them. 2 minutes and 32 seconds. That's what they're left with after that push.
Yeah, that was very strong. And like you said, as soon as you get that point, I actually didn't even realize that they were taking that point quite so quickly. But once you can get the high ground there and just control that center stage of that point, there's only like really 3 direct directions that the team can push in, right? They can push in through both of the tiny little sides right by the spawn that go right directly onto point. They can push all the way around the left side, or they can try to get back up and like push you through the ramps. And none of those are great situations, especially if, you know, they've got any sort of AoE damage. You just get choke pointed right there so easily. So if you can use all your G maneuvers, force them into their own choke point, or force them to split up, then things can go very well. But that was a great usage and a lot of time left, actually. A great usage of all of the G maneuvers on offense, and having that extra time is going to be really important, because when you have 2 strong teams, one thing that's really interesting in Gundam Evo is that I've noticed that 2 strong teams will often just both take the points, right? They will, in fact, both make it happen just because their coordination is working so well on offense.
Yeah. Again, it can't be understated how strong that is. When you look at the defensive hold, it's also extremely hard to hold on B for the defense at points, because you don't have the same kind of access when it comes to health packs once you're actually forced on to the point. You have that one mini that's down below on the left-hand side, and a little cheeky turret there to get some extra damage, but that's also information for them. They know that they're coming in for the right, but this is the similar push that we had coming out from our first half. Now they're going to go ahead and try and take this high ground though for this Pale if he wants to push up. I believe Dom has already created the way and the space for him. They will get up there, but they are getting challenged just a little bit for it. They spot out the Mephis on the back line. It's going to be the first pick though. This is Zabi going down, and now they have the opening to push forward here. You can see the turret getting taken out by that nade, but it's going to be a clean and surgical push. They end up losing out on 2, but it should be enough for them.
Yeah, that's actually so funny that they used the Pale Rider to defend on that particular platform through the entirety of the very first push when they were on defense, and now that they're on offense, they just walked the Pale Rider around the side and they just used it themselves. They're like, you know what? I'm just, offense or defense, this is my spot. This is my Pale Rider home. But yeah, this is going to be the full cap. Very easy, very quick first push, and you love to see it. And they're just going to push immediately forward. We're not going to see that kind of awkward stagger situation, but they are pushing forward extremely quickly. They didn't have too much of a stagger to have to wait for.
Yeah, they got this maybe a minute and a half, a little bit earlier. We did have the nade coming out, the EMP actually being utilized by that Pale Rider above, but they trade 1-for-1 Barbados for the Exia here, and he's been destroyed. So there's going to be no res for him, but this is the offensive push. They're not too far from spawns. Exia finding one more onto the Dom now. Pale Rider at 81 HP somehow survives and gets behind cover, but he needs the heal of that repair cable. You can see the full regroup. They're not actually lingering around and getting picked off. And here comes the defensive push now, trying to find a little bit more.
Yeah, so much of this match has come down to the Pale Riders and just their positioning and their ability to stay alive. Oh, look at this. That's going to be a nice down. I think they should be able to get the res right here, but they're actually not even going to go for it. Wow, that's pretty surprising. They just really want to hold this choke point, although there are a good amount of picks, really kind of on both sides. Maybe this is what you want. Oh, I'm sorry, a team kill. That was like a weirdly staggered team kill. It said team kill, but like 4 people were up already.
Yep, Exia picks up a lot at that point. Now 3 G maneuvers online. You got the Trans Am, you got the Hades along with that energy cable. On the offensive side, though, they do have a Trans Am along with the energy cable as well. So if they want to go in for that combo, they can, but it will be answered in kind. You can see they're trying to measure the defensive push, and now they end up losing out on their Sazabi, but the Hades has been used from the defensive side. They're at least bleeding out some of the ultimates, and with the time advantage that they had on point A, that's actually kind of good for them. Bleeding out 2 ultimates there, they'll try and come back with more.
Yeah, this is, it's really interesting to see the full commitment to the Barbados. I just have to point that out as they're kind of regrouping, but it's been working really well. This is one of, I think, the like dedicated Barbados mains. I'm pretty sure it's the same Barbados main that's been on Inarizaki since the like very first tournament, the Pilot Showdown, but a strong player. And I mean, it's honestly working out in ways that I wouldn't expect. And we're going to see it again. You can just kind of pick off people that are trying to sneak in, but that is going to be the Trans Am activated. That is going to be, of course, a commitment with also the Hades.
Yeah, that's a lot of commitment onto here just to get past the point. I mean, just the choke point. They're not even getting onto point A quite yet. They're trading away. Now they might be able to find one more. And I'm surprised they're not going instantly for that high ground instead. They will go ahead and swerve around to the right here, and this will give them access for that Pale to get up high. But they still need to clean up, and now they're getting challenged by the Exia. 378. One more right click might do it as he gets tagged for 106. But he does fall back. The EMP nade isn't enough to slow down the Methus, who ends up chasing him down. It's a 1-for-1 exchange, though, our support players coming in. And like I said, Wonder Bread, I love in this game how the supports make an offensive difference.
I know, they can do so much damage. I've been melted by far too many Methuses, but yeah, I mean, that was huge, right? Of course, that sets up the stagger on the offense. There's still, of course, a great amount of time left. We've got, I think we have about 3 minutes left on the other side as far as offense when they manage to capture. So there's still a little bit of time to try to make that up. I would not be surprised, though, like I said, to see this go to overtime matches. And it looks like we are going to see a full push up at the top. We'll see how much defense is actually up here. The Exia can get some really nice angles. Of course, just having these straight lines is always really good for it. There's not a lot of spaces you can sidestep it. Its projectiles managed to hit, and wow, it's chasing down a lot. It's going to get the res as well. This might be the point. They've got several picks. They're all on point. How many G maneuvers they have? Only one, and it's only the Methus.
Ooh, Exia gets out with 120 HP. He's got the Trans Am, but he needs to find the pack. He does have that one small pack here, as the Trans Am will get popped. Zabi comes on in, and there's the knock. They only end up losing out on one. This is Zabi of their own. They might be able to get him the res and get him back on in. The Methus has been taken down. Now the Trans Am is just doing enough to pressure. He doesn't even have to actually go in and commit for the kills, but this mere presence of it, you can see, forcing them back. 2 ticks already in, about to secure their third as they're fighting over this health package. Barbados will be able to pick that one up, but he leaves him low. Methus finds one more onto the Exia, but it looks like the defense might have done enough for the comeback. It's going to be a 3v4 on the point, though, and there is another pick. Barbados and Sazabi down. Now the offense have a huge advantage. They pick up their third stack.
Oh, the stagger is ridiculous. There might be one more person that can get on point, but yeah, it's not going to be enough. Just the immediate melt on the Exia. That's going to be technically even a team kill to end that round. Very similar times, I believe, left for both of these teams. Oh my, within like 13 seconds of each other. You know, you were talking about how this is going to be a more competitive game, and that is pretty much as close as you can get. So it's going to come down to these overtime rounds, and I gotta say that last, I don't even know, 30 seconds of that game, that point of view from Duke, the #1 ranked Exia, you know, on the leaderboards, I think that was such a perfect example. If anybody's trying to play Exia, just look at that footage. That was like a masterclass in how to play that unit. You're mentioning, you know, it didn't go in and just kill every single other suit. It like waited for its moments. It picked off just the perfect amount of things. It stayed safe. It didn't overcommit, but it ended up getting like 7 kills within that final like stagger moment, and it was super important to making sure that they held that point. So that was beautiful play, but this match so close.
Yeah, 13 seconds you mentioned. 219 to 232 as they will have their second opportunity to attack now. And again, what I love about Exia is that he isn't as snowbally as as his counterpart from other games, right? He doesn't have the dash resets. He doesn't have the dash resets. It's not quite the same, right? So you don't snowball as hard off of like a Trans Am, but it is still incredibly strong. You have to be worried for it. You have to charge up your dash as well, not having the dash reset. There's a lot of things that make it so much different. But he does play similarly. You still have to find your timings. I think, yeah, like you said, did a great job of doing that. Right now, though, here we go. The second offense. Again, teams have been playing this one very cautiously, very defensively. No one trying to hold out on the bridge. Now we're going to have that Pale Rider push. They're going to go straight up the gut. Again, both teams decided to try and push under bridge, but now understanding that everyone is playing from inside, they're not going to waste any time. They're going to go straight across.
Yeah, just immediately pushing across. This is like one of those situations where you know that your opponent is respecting you, and so you're just going to take advantage of that, right? They're like, you know what, we'll just take the fastest route because we know that they're not even going to try to get a pick on us. They're just going to stay inside and respect the fact that we could get a pick on them. So immediately we're just going to see these chaotic battles on this point, and these can be just so hard to track, but this is such an, it's like the perfect ranges for Exias. And again, the Exia 1v1, it's so important.
Yeah, losing out on that. Now the point is contested. They've already gotten 2 ticks for themselves here on point A. If they capture it, of course, they will get additional time. We saw how both teams kind of struggled to get onto point B, so it's incredibly important here for the defense to try and bleed as much of it as possible. But now, with 50% of the way there, we'll have one more opportunity, essentially, to make this attack happen.
Yeah, this time makes everything so much more stressful. Of course, you do get, for anybody who doesn't know, on overtime rounds, you start off with 50% of your G maneuver meter. So we do see the Hades built very quickly, even within the second spawn. And you do see some very strong team fights, especially with G maneuver coordinations, just right before the time ends. We're seeing a little bit of a hold here before this Hades is used, but there is one big pick on offense here, and that is going to be huge, even to start things off.
Oh no, Zim ends up going down and finished off, and he had his Hades available now. G maneuver being used on the other side. That's going to be Hades for Listic for Team Inarizaki. But we still have 30 seconds remaining here. They're calling the GGs at this point. I don't think you have to do it so early. Did they end up getting a DC?
It does look like they got a DC. That is pretty unfortunate. I wonder what happened. I wonder which player it was that ended up dropping. That is a really unfortunate time for it to happen. I'm not sure exactly how that's all going to go through, but there is still, of course, you know, going to be another round of offense and defense. And honestly, you know, even on offense here, they managed to get 2 ticks so far. They can still win 1 team fight. They're doing extremely well for having to play potentially a 5v6. In fact, okay, so that's actually almost, I mean, half their team is down. More than half their team is down. I think one of them is staggered. Somebody's going to stay on point. Look at this. I love this movement. They're coordinating to already move forward. And it looks like we have the player reconnect on the other side. So, you know what? Things could be worse. Things could be worse.
Yeah, Methus is back, I believe, for Team BOZOS now. They don't catch anyone on a stagger. It looked like everyone got the back spawn at the very least. So we're not going to have that same kind of issue that happened in the first round. But they do catch out one. Methus is going to try and back away. Dom ends up falling here. That's going to be 2 coming in now. You have to try and back away, but no, the Marseille says you're getting back into the thick of things, taking him out. But they do get that additional time, by the way. So the offense will have about 2 minutes, I think, to try and take point B. But again, we can see how staunchly the defense holds here on point B.
Yeah, this is going to be really tough. It looks like they are going to slightly build back a few G maneuvers, maybe 2 or 3 for one final push, but they're going to have to really coordinate it. And I mean, even if they can get one tick, though, that's huge. Like, let's remember, it's whoever can make it, I believe, further here is going to win in the tie. This isn't going to be like ranked. There is like an actual tiebreaker. I feel like I don't fully understand the tiebreaker well enough, so I'm not going to 100% speak on it, but there is, you know, it is important to get as far as you possibly can. And the fact that they've already taken A is huge. It looks like there is the potential for, they got a couple picks. They got 3 picks. They could at least get a minimum 1 tick, which is going to be huge, but anything further than that is going to be even more and more big. Looks like, oh, this is tough. This Pale Rider has to take down at least 2 things on point here. It's 5 seconds are left. Has to stay here. Has to, get hit by the Exia. That might be it. They didn't quite get 1 tick, and yeah, they were close. They were close to getting a hold on point B, but not quite. Regardless, though, like I said, fully capping point A, that's pretty huge. It's very, very possible to hold somebody for just 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes at point A.
And it's coming down, I would say, basically down to the Exias from either side. Both of them are fantastic, but right there you saw the Trans Am being utilized to try and force out Zim. Zim had that high ground. He had a Hades available as well, and having a Hades up top, having free reign would have been so free for them. But that pressure, the pressure coming out from the Exia to force him down onto the low, force him into the pack, made it so much easier for them to actually go for that fight, pick things apart slowly now. As we head into the next attack phase here, it's Inarizaki. They just need to capture point A and then 1 tick on point B, and that will be the win for them. They'll be able to move on to the winners finals, will not have to battle it out. Remember, here for the Breakout Series, it is going to be double elimination once we get into the later rounds.
Okay, I have to point out, though, not quite yet, because this game has been super long, but that's just game 1, right? There's still 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
They're just so close to each other that I guarantee that this game has been longer than probably all the other sets we've had today. That's how close these teams are in battling. So it's like, wait a minute, this is just the first part of it. So yeah, we got the tiebreakers in a game, and then we've got a tiebreaker in a set, but right now we're just doing the tiebreakers in the game. So here we go. Only going to be about 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, slightly below that, I believe, for Inarizaki to make this push to try to take this point A. It looks like they're going to be going with a Marasai, which is interesting. I don't think they were running the Marasai before this, but you know, getting those singular picks on offense can be huge. And also, it's got the range to try to challenge people from this kind of far range, this spot in particular.
Yeah, both sides kind of metagaming this one, neither really having to go for that push. Oh, they might have actually spotted one on the low, and they decide to push down, but nope, never mind. They're going to swerve actually for a very similar push to what they had in their original offense. Zabi's actually going to go for that flank with that axe.
No!
I can catch him out. No, he ends up actually short-stringing that one. As now, he is going to actually make that push once again. But he doesn't have the axe available quite yet, getting challenged by the Exia. Now you can see the double dive coming out, and now they're going to chase after him. They will find one more. That's going to be Duke picking that one up. For that defense here, Inarizaki getting picked apart slowly but surely. Metis might be the next one to fall as Duke backs away. The trades are going down, though. Now things are looking quite good for the offense. They picked up 2 ticks, might be able to get a little bit more, but there's too much presence here as now Duke chases down, getting rid of that Dom. And with 1 minute, 30 seconds to go, there's possibly time for 2 more fights here for the Inarizaki squad.
Yeah, they're, of course, building all their G maneuvers as well. They haven't used any of them yet. They've got 3 of them up. I could see at least 1 or 2 more building within that next fight. And the fact that they've already got 2 ticks, that's feeling pretty good for them. We could be, again, this could be just as close as it gets. I don't even know what happens exactly if they both just take A and don't take B, but we are going to see the Trans Am start off, and wow, that is almost single-handedly going to be holding off this entire push. There is so much damage coming out from that. And once again, the Exia battle, and again, Duke coming out on top.
Yeah, tried their best, but they will be forced back. That was a lot of G maneuvers being utilized, though, by the BOZOS squad. So they can at least count on that. They will have, it looks like the Ashmore punch coming up just in time. So that's going to be 3 for them. Oh, you got to be careful. You got the energy cable, you got the repair cable along with the heal being used early on. Hades will get popped. They're not actually using the Metis ult. They don't have it, or they might have actually popped it onto someone else as they charge forward. Now Ashmore punch being utilized as well. And the Screaming Nimbus, everything being used from the defense here. 20 seconds left to go. Will Inarizaki actually have enough time now to push forward? You can see now the defense going straight up, making sure they can't push in, but you got to be careful yourself playing on that bridge.
Oh, they just need to get somebody on point, but it doesn't look like anybody's going to be close enough. I don't even know who they have that could sneak by. Their Exia might potentially be able to sneak to the back, but 3, 2, 1, almost make it with the Sazabi, it looks like, but not quite. And so that one will go to BOZOS. They're going to be holding just slightly more of that point with a great defense.
It's just crazy how quickly the time can get away from you there. But you saw, I thought that might have been overcommittal on G maneuvers, but no, they got it down. The timing on it was so correct because they were able to realize, hey, we use these G maneuvers, we get one more pick here, one more pick here, even though it's you know, maybe a solo G maneuver committal for a pick. At that point, now you're bringing everyone else in staggered, and you're able to play this one defensively differently. They pushed up out into the bridge. We've seen almost no teams doing that throughout the day. So very strong pick. BOZOS will be taking map number 1, and like we said, I mean, this is going to be one of our most competitive matches.
Yeah. I mean, that was so close, right? Both teams taking in regulation time, I guess you could say, taking it within 13 seconds of each other, which is extremely close considering it's a 6+ minute potential difference. And then within overtime, it was 4 ticks of the first point versus 2 ticks of the first point, which could have easily been like one more push to either of the teams winning, right? More solidly. Like, that was extremely close. I would love to see this set go to a game 5, a game 3, but I mean, that could take a really long time. Already, you know, this has been a really long set. This is for sure what I wanted to see, though. Like you said, we have had a lot of kind of, I don't want to say like stomps per se, but we've got a lot of pretty decided games. This one, I still feel like Inarizaki could easily take it. The big question, of course, as it's been throughout a lot of the other games, is what game type we're going to get, because that looks pretty close, that looked pretty even, but one of these two teams could be better at particular game types, especially considering the fact that Inarizaki has a dedicated Barbados main, which is very, very rare to see. And I feel like, you know, if you ended up getting a map like maybe Thermal Plant, that could end up going your way, or I think maybe Thermal Plant was banned, so I don't actually remember. Regardless, it could be huge what comes up next.
Yeah, Underground Command Center and Thermal Plants were our first 2 bans. Right. I believe our next pick should be coming up. I imagine that Flak Fort was the pick coming out from Inarizaki, so BOZOS, what is their map choice? That's the question, right? You asked. It's going to be Quarry coming in for our next map. So, hey, we're going back to another bomb, or actually, we're going to a bomb plant map at this point. We got to see Quarry earlier on, and we saw BOZOS with an amazing hold. They looked like they on their defensive hold, they did an amazing job.
Yeah, and also, you know, we haven't, I think, seen the unicorn coming out from BOZOS as much after they were not on that particular point on that particular map, right? It worked really well because they're all grouped well together. So I love the fact that we know that that's a potential option in their arsenal. I would love to see it come out again, but, you know, we'll see. And I love the fact that they actually didn't use it in spots where they didn't think like it was going to be as important. Like when you're in that building on, you know, that last point that we were just on, you don't tend to be as grouped up. So I could definitely see stuff like Unicorn not working out well, but when they're on this map, they're just like, you know what, we're sitting behind this box and we're just going to hold one particular angle. But on the other side, you know, being on this map in particular, there are a lot of spots where you can jump over those walls and instantly get something good with Barbados. But then the question is, will you get picked off, or will that be enough to be a distraction? Who knows if we even see the Barbados, I guess.
Yeah, here we are on Quarry for our second map. BOZOS currently 1-0 in the lead, and they will be starting off on the offensive side. Inarizaki will be on the defense. And this is one of those maps, again, Barbados can be incredibly strong. Don't know if we'll see that coming out, especially here on the first waypoint. But when it comes down to playing on either point A or B, I think Barbados can be played extremely well for that defensive end. We were expecting quite possibly Sniper to come in here. He can be played especially to try and take the first waypoint, but and there's just so many ways to break sight lines here. For Inarizaki, though, they will be trying to play defensively ahead of that. Looks like we might have another Axe scan coming out. Possibly. We got to see that on Fort, on Flak Fort, and I thought that was an interesting thing. Don't really see that often in ranked.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, a lot of times too, ranked teammates aren't going to take advantage of it, right? And it does look like we saw it, unless they just decide to fly in the air for no reason. Regardless, there's not going to be too much variance. You know, you're going to be able to see whether people go to the right or people go through kind of through the middle. Looks like most of the team went through the middle, but they're not even holding that angle particularly, so I'm not sure if the info helped them all that much. Regardless, you're not taking that much damage for it, and wow, immediately we're seeing Duke get picked off.
Yeah, Duke going down early. He is, of course, going to be on that Exia. So his run back will be a little bit faster, quite possibly, but they are forcing back the Pale Rider, but they find one more pick. Their Dom dies, but this is just a fight over the waypoint now. So they can try and go for the regroup here as they have one isolated in the corner. The chase after the Dom, but the nade is not enough to finish him off quite yet. He's got that Mega health pack to play off of, and now you might actually go down to the Metis turret. No, 300 HP. Oh my goodness. I mean, the amount of times in your ranked games, how many times have you had to tell your teammates to clear like the Metis turrets?
Oh my gosh, too many times. That thing, honestly, like if he's in a sneaky spot and you don't have the liberty of being able to turn around and kill it immediately, it can do a lot of damage. It's way higher damage than you'd expect, but okay, this push is working out very well. Now, again, I mentioned this before when we were on this map for the first time, the first game of the day, but A and B both are defended very, very differently. So I think the team, based on their comp and their playstyle, is going to really try to prioritize one or the other. It's not like one of them is easier to get to. They're both at similar distance, and it looks like they're going to start with B, which is a lot longer range.
Yeah, they do have that Pale Rider to play off of, and so if you can get in position on the maybe a top left side, you can even play underneath the bridge there. But the punt going down now, they have an excellent death ball here, just playing underneath that high ground. You have to remember that you can actually shoot underneath those grates, so teams can't freely contest from that height. The Exia goes in, but he has been swatted down. 30 seconds remaining now here on this mega charge, and they have forced them back. 27 seconds left. There's one opportunity now to try and come in for the defuse.
Yeah, and it takes kind of a while to get to the high ground if you're trying to get in that direction, and it seems like maybe the safer bet, but again, you are kind of choke pointed here, and yeah, you see almost the entire team of Inarizaki going up through that high ground. I'm not sure they're going to be able to get enough mileage here. There's a lot of damage coming in, but this is about to explode, and it might be a point where somebody has to just get on it and just potentially just die. Yep, that's just immediately destroyed. No chance. They almost made it. They were just a few seconds, I think, too late on that push, which is maybe not their fault per se.
Yeah, this is just a great pick. I mean, BOZOS realized, you know, Barbados on the other side. We don't want to play into point B up against the Barbados. We have the sideline. We have the Pale Rider. So point A is going to be the obvious choice for them, and they do pick that one up. They're going to not get the res, unfortunately. Just a split second late there, but it's okay because he will have that forward spawn to play off of. Now, this is the big question when it comes to point B, or well, the second phase of this map. Do you go for the waypoint? Well, there's no one contesting it, so they actually get that one for free. So there's going to be no fight there unless Barbados picks up 2.
Wow, double kill with Barbados. Wish we got to see that. That was, I mean, that can be a really scary spot, right? When you take that waypoint, you have to walk through this little canyon, this is just Barbados heaven, right? Anybody who's like right next to you, right there, there's like no sidelines in front of you because it turns. Barbados just jumps around you and one-shots you. So this can be a little bit of a trap as far as a waypoint. Obviously, if you can utilize it well, it can do very, very close to that back bomb spot. But I've seen a lot of teams, even good teams, take this waypoint, all try to fight their way through this and waste so much time just getting choke pointed in that little valley.
Ooh, Barb kind of feeding on that push, actually. And so now you can see the rush coming out from the rest of the squad, but the Ashmar punch, no, never mind. That's the Screaming Nimbus coming out, and that picks up 2. They're actually coming in a lot into this Hades being utilized as well for the defense in Inarizaki.